6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
The Geek Week in Review.
Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in Review, live with me, Jacob's Toys, of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell, and this week we have Ryan Speaks Geek with us. He's finally back. So if you're he's back. If you're watching live, then please jump in on the comments and join in with the chat. We'll try our best to kind of keep up with it and obviously answer anything that comes up. And if you're listening to us on podcast, then all the same things apply. Please do share and all those things. And as always, do check out the website, geekweekinreview.co.uk, for all of our socials and all the rest of it. So, first live show when all three of us are together, which is really cool. Ryan, welcome to the world of live streaming.
That's not technically true because, remember last week I live streamed from a train, which somehow was easier than me trying to set up from my home today. As you can tell, I've had to go and get my very old. Can you guys hear me all right, by the way?
Yeah, can we through okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
well, I'm just double checking because I've become the modern equivalent of, can you hear me now? Like that's it's always internet. The things not working. I've just worked out I'm mirrored in my camera, which is really discombobulating to me.
And
not to anyone else in the world.
We can do all kind of weird things to you as well, like on here as well. So like I could just mute you. Just shut up, Ryan.
This is how he's finally going to do the sign off without me interrupting, isn't it? This is it. This is the only...
It's going to be like, everyone. Look, he can't talk. He can't talk because we've got the power. Anyway, so let's go on the show. But we will talk about Secret Cinema, Guardians of the Galaxy's live experience, because as Ryan pointed out, he went last week and I went last night. So
I deliberately haven't asked you about it for it.
I did wonder, but yeah, we can have a chat about that. But there's also lots more to talk about as well. We've got the ongoing saga of course, Marvel Legends HasLab, the Ghost Rider HasLab. That clock is ticking ever so much closer now. We've got the season finale of She-Hulk. That happened, and the internet again was quite divided. We've had Andor, which I must admit I haven't watched this week's episode. But I'm happy to discuss it anyway. But yeah, so that's it. We've got quite a lot going on. Where should we start?
Well, I'm still gathering up some pictures for when we do the toy news. So if you guys want to talk about your experience at that special cinema place while I continue doing this.
That sounded so almost
Sounds
like
cool.
sassy. Like it was almost like, if you want to talk about your little secret cinema place, whatever, it's fine,
That place where Northerners aren't allowed.
Yeah.
Mate, Northerners are allowed, they've just got to travel that extra.
Yeah. You get gravy, we get secret cinema. That's the trade.
Get gravy.
Let's talk Secret Cinema to start with then, before we get on to She-Hulk and toy news and stuff. So, obviously you went last week. What was it? Last Saturday? No, it was
last Sunday.
Sunday, wasn't it?
We
were doing the show.
We've heard my thoughts, and I deliberately haven't asked Jake. We have like a chat that we all talking, and I haven't asked Jake because I thought I'm going to wait until we're here live to the world and ask Jake, what did you think?
There was me just thinking, oh, Ryan doesn't care about my trip.
Of course I care, but this is hard-hitting journalism right now.
I'm gonna admit, like, I've got a video that's coming out where I've kind of broken down all the the ins and outs and all that kind of stuff. But if I'm totally honest, I thought it was really good. I really did. I thought it was out of this world. Excuse the pun, but I really did. I thought it was. That
was so bad. I should have said it.
I know, right? Do I want to say it's potentially my favorite one so far? I think it is, but only because it was a Marvel one. So it's their first Marvel one, wasn't it? They've done lots of other films. But I thought the attention to detail was second to none. Like the attention to detail was phenomenal. And I think you said it. I think you might have said it last week. Or you might have said it in the chat. But if you wanted to interact, or if you didn't want to interact, there was still something for everybody. Like you could go along and not interact with people, but still have a really good time. And I thought that was a really nice touch. I think the only thing that let it down, in my personal opinion, was that there wasn't much going on when you were watching the film. Like the lights that they had with it, and the kind of, like, I had table service for my seats because I was in them posh red ones at the front with the little iPads, courtesy of Secret Cinema. Like I didn't pay for that; that was something that they gave me. But yeah, that, like, the actual watching of the film, like, if I compare it to the Back to the Future one, for example, the Back to the Future one was done outside, and the film,
that was the very first one, actually, if I remember correctly.
No, I think there was one before. I think there might have been one before that. I think maybe it was the first one. I don't know. But when that was happening, like the actors were playing out the film while you were watching it. So Doc swang down the swang down the wire.
The thing is, I had a theory about that.
Go on.
Why they didn't do it? I think because I really couldn't think of any set pieces in that film, say maybe 2 scenes, where they realistically could have done something in time with the film that would have had any impact, because it's such a quick change. I feel like with Star Wars it kind of worked because there was lots of bits where rebel troops have entered the base and there's the thing, and they could recreate the lightsaber fight. But this is inside a planet where things evolve and start popping out of nowhere, and then they're on one planet in like one scene for like not even 5 minutes, and then they're on another. I was trying to work out where would I actually be able, what would I do, and how could I do it. And actually, I really struggled to think of any good moments other than the part when all the Ravagers are together on Sakaar. I couldn't really think of many other times when what I could do with it. Like that would be actually, other than maybe just having them all stand in front in the hero pose. I couldn't really see much scope for it. I think the lights were a good way of doing something, and actually, it was really cool. The lights, like the weird ceiling of lights of it, really added. Like the lighting wise, it just, especially when they go through the space battle and stuff like that, there was some really cool stuff. But I couldn't see where they would add something decent in live action. I struggled to find. Yeah,
I do agree there.
But I did miss it.
I do agree. Something just fell down in my room. That's why I keep looking around. I can't work out what it is. I just heard something fall. I'm like, what?
Oh, it was figure 2973B.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, no, I do agree. And like the lights for anyone that hasn't attended, basically the ceiling of the cinema had all kind of light bars on it. So as stuff happened with like I don't know, like an explosion or something like that, like a good example to use is Yondu's funeral at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They lit the ceiling up and everything in all the different colors, and it really worked, and it was it was good. But yeah, I think that that would be my only criticism, that I was expecting something with the film. Like I think as a customer, you could easily go along and just do the immersive bit and not miss out by not seeing the film. But by seeing the film, you get that extra level of like going in and watching it after doing everything we did. Like it was my favorite viewing of that film, and I've seen that film 4 or 5 times now, but it was my favorite viewing of the film because it just felt like, hey, I was there. I spoke to that one, like, you know what I mean? It was that kind of stuff. How involved did you get? Did you get really involved with all the characters?
I went involved. I spoke to Yondu. I had a good little trade with him. I went in, I traded loads of stuff. I had barterings. My sister stole something from the trading station to then use for trading later. Yeah, she went all sneaks and stuff like that. I had to blag about things because you have to, like, you could take trinkets. So, like, spoiler alert for anyone going there, but you can take trinkets, as it says on the website, and to try and trade and to get points and everything for your clan. So one of the things I took was a mixtape, and I had made the outside on the train. I just took some coloured Sharpies with me. I said to Mum and Dad that we were moving, if you've got any old cassettes or anything laying about, or empty CD cases, bring them. I didn't realise I'd actually be playing the cassettes and CDs that we traded. So what's really funny is the one I had was learning piano for juniors. So I had to sort of flag this thing. And then the other thing my mum had was Spanish tapes, like learning Spanish. So I said to Mum, "Was like, right, okay, well you're gonna have to pitch this as like you've got data records of a lost forbidden language because they'll play that and you can flag that." Like my wife had a dinosaur, and I said, "Right, this is actually not just a dinosaur. This is a statue commemorating the great beasts of Earth." You know, and you've got to think about your word stuff. And I got really into it. I had such a good time with it. I loved it, and I got well involved.
Yeah, I did as well. Like
I did my voices.
Oh good man. I took a My Little Pony, and like there was this woman that was on one of the bartering things, and she was like throwing points at people, and I was like, I hear that you're a lady like that likes nice things, and she's like, I do, and I was like, how about this? And she was like, oh man, like I really like that, like all in her accent and that, and she offered me like quite a lot of units for it, and then I got cocky and I was like, I think it's worth more than that. She was like, no, it's not. And I was like, I think it is. And she was like, nah, sweetie, it's not worth more. I'm giving you over the price. And I was like, no, it's definitely worth more than that. And she was like, well, you can take it elsewhere. And I was like, I'm going to. And she went, go on then, bye-bye. And I was like, oh, man.
Actually, I'd like my points, please.
Yeah, I was like, please, may I have some points? But I did play it well because I went back with something else. And I was like, I'm humble. I apologize for the way I spoke earlier. I would like to trade this, and I'm also going to offer you this. And then she gave me more points because I kind of and that was really cool about it. Is it was this constant story. So to go back and talk to her again, she remembered who I was, and she upped my points and stuff. And we interacted with Yondu as well. Yondu was the main one that I wanted to interact with, but I really played up to his kind of who he was, and I was like, Yondu, and he was like, who's asking? And I was like, your name is known around the galaxy, and he was like, oh yeah. And I had like my Ravager patch, and he was giving it all this, and I was giving it all that. And I was like, did we just become best friends? Like, did I just become best friends with Yondu? I was like, do we have a secret handshake now? Did you get into the collector's room?
No, I didn't. Annoyingly, I went to the upstairs. I got into the bar, like the upstairs of the bar and stuff like that.
Yes,
I didn't. I could see into the trading shack, like the collector's room. I could see into it from the outside. But I didn't get into it because I was in the middle of bartering when he did that, so I wasn't part of the crowd that got taken in. I was really annoyed. So if one more person was ahead of me, I would have been in there. But I got to be part of that. I got to see some of the dance off in the club bit.
Cool.
I got a couple. There was a dance off bit where they stole Star-Lord's guns in the main section. And then there was a guy where he electrocuted himself under the wire.
Yeah.
That guy was nuts. Loads of little bits and bobs, but the escaped prisoner as well. I helped apprehend the escaped prisoner, and then I hid that same prisoner later. I just changed my tactic.
My main kind of criticism, apart from the video bit, like with the immersive bit, was that I could have spent another 2 hours in there easy. Like I think that felt too short. It felt like I could have had more time because we didn't get to the upstairs bar. So we missed the dance off bit, but instead we went into the collector's bit. And I feel that there was a lot of kind of compromise. It was like, well, I want to do this, but if I do this, I know I'm going to miss that. So it was kind of like...
I have found that with the last couple, like the Stranger Things one, for example, it was impossible to do everything because it really depended on which character you followed around. So my sister and mum ended up with someone else, and the guy who was playing Hopper for the Stranger Things really took a liking to me for some reason. I think so as anyone who was playing along with the accent and stuff, but so I ended up being with him. So I got to do this but I basically followed his story, but I didn't see any of the Mike story bit and everything, but I got to see bits a lot of other people didn't. And I think that's the thing with Secret Cinema. I think that's their way of trying to make it that everyone has potentially a different and unique experience, and also maybe makes you want to try and go again. Is that it's impossible to do everything in one time. But I do agree. I kind of wanted at least another hour, at very least another hour, to sort of go around before they did that sort of, because they capped that bit off with a live action experience bit with characters and some really cool stuff. And
that was really fun.
I don't want to give everything away on it, so but it's really cool the live actiony bit they do before the film. You go into watch the second film, and I realized that, and I think I wanted like another hour before that still. I even would have gone in at 3:30 or something rather than 4:30. I would have easily gone in earlier.
Yeah, see, we went in at ours was 5:30. We had the 5:30. So did you go for the earlier showing?
No, it's because ours was on a Sunday, so ours was the same time, but it was moved back an hour.
Oh right, okay, fair play.
Because
yeah,
it's Sunday and the trains and stuff like that, they move it. The Sunday one's an hour earlier than I think the other days because of the whole Sunday trains and stuff.
But yeah, no, I agree. And I thought about this, and me and my friend were talking. So I went with one of my best friends, and she was one of these that kind of jumped straight into it as well. And she's like, it was great because we were both fully immersed in it. But we were talking about this afterwards, and I was like, you know what? It does make you want to go again because there are things that we missed. But then actually, if I went again, it would be a completely different experience. Whereas I would have liked more time in the story I was in because I had built up certain, not relationships, but interactions with certain characters. And I would have liked to have kind of gone back and kind of been like, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this. And yeah, it's all the rest of it. But it was really cool. So Stephen's commented, look, it sounds epic. Wanted to take my nephew. Yeah, mine's the same. Like I wanted to take my eldest two, but they were a year too young as well. And
yeah, my friend's son was upset, was absolutely devastated.
Yeah, my eldest two were as well, and I'd really be excited to see how different it would be with the younger audience because it was definitely mature. Like there was things being said and done that were definitely kind of for the adult market.
Well, they have two different versions because they have a kids one and there is a kids like matinee version, and I wonder how different that is.
That's what I mean. Is I wonder what that version of it was like. You know how the characters interact in that.
Next time you do that one version, I'll do the adult one. Then we'll work it out.
Okay. One thing I've got to ask you though is that, like, my opinion is no matter how much effort you put into your costume or whatever, but there's always people that took it to an extra level. How extra were some of the people in your, you know, for your experience? Where there's some people that would really
some people
to a different,
genuinely, I think, were on par with the cast members, and I think some people who were there got confused that some of the normal people were cast members but weren't actually cast members. And even I actually did speak to someone. I'll hold my hands up, and if it was you and you're watching this, which I doubt you are, but you never know, amazing, because I thought someone was in such a convincing Ravagers thing, and the makeup and the voice that they did and everything, because it was slightly alien as well. It put like a fake like sort of thing under their eyes that changed sort of the shape of their eyes in it, and I was so convinced. So I talked to him, and he was sort of playing it in for a bit, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm just a guest." After a bit, I was like, "Cool." I knew that. Yeah, no, just playing along. It's cool. I was like, "You're gonna give me some points?" And he was like, "I can't give you points."
Yeah. There were some people that were like extra, like totally extra. But yeah, overall, it's a really, really cool experience. And I really hope they do more Marvel ones because I don't know which Marvel films and stuff they would do. But for me, I love the Secret Cinema experiences. But for this to be the first kind of Marvel one, it was on par with kind of Universal Studios like Fright Nights and stuff like that. Like if you've ever done something like that, I thought it was on par with those easily. And one of my favorite bits, I must admit, and it's nothing to do with the actual experience, but we missed the exact drop point, you know, at the station where everyone meets, and they kind of direct you in the right direction. So we parked because we drove up there and we parked and we were walking down. And as we were walking down, all these Ravengers were walking up. And it was like seeing this sea of costumes and colours coming up. And we were walking dead in the centre down the middle. And I said to my friend, I was like, well, at least everyone's going to know who we are because they're basically all walking past us. And then we got to the end, we turned around and kind of ran up to the front and then got in there. And did they herd you through that weird cattle bit at the, like you walked inside,
and then I went straight onto it. I was like, that was the most pointless, annoying thing. It was like being a Disneyland queue. But the funny thing is, though, I had obviously my purple beard and hair, and the amount of people that I know before I went, because I sprayed it all here, and then I had to do a couple of bits like outside the flat and stuff like that, you know. And the amount of people that were like, didn't even think that I was doing something and just thought I had dyed it and was just like, oh, it's a cool look, Ryan. Actually, I really does suit you. So you know, I was like, maybe I'll just go purple. And then I realized it did thankfully come out for I had so many meetings the next day at my office. I was like, I have got like, I'm home at midnight. I've got to be up at like 7. I've got, if it doesn't come out within the first like shower, I was like 16 hair washes later. I was like, oh my God, I look normal again. But
Yeah.
can you imagine that just turning up like serious business stuff? Ignore the glare from my purple beard. But
I put some proper effort into making my jacket. Like, I'm not gonna like, I put
jacket
a lot
did
of
look
effort.
savage.
Like, I was like, yeah. I was like, if I'm going hard. And I must admit that like a lot of the actors commented because I looked like I belong there, and I had the Zavi UK sent me the Ravenger pin, which looked really epic. And yeah, I got a lot of compliments from actors and also from guests, just like, man, your jacket is like next level, like cool. And I was like, oh, thanks so much. Don't break character. I was just like, but yeah. And this is the t-shirt I wore. So I got this t-shirt from T Public, and it's actually a She-Ra design. It's like, I love it, but I'm not quite out of character because I was like, oh, I'm going to wear this t-shirt today because I kind of still want to be in Contraxia. But hey. So, but yeah, it was really good. So anyway, that was our Secret Cinema kind of roundup. If anyone has been, then do let us know in comments or via social media and stuff. Let us know what your thoughts were. Let's talk She-Hulk. Let's move on to the finale. Let's talk on about the She-Hulk finale. Just really quick,
I actually haven't got past episode 3.
Oh, what?
But the thing is, thanks to the internet, I already know everything that happens at the She-Hulk finale, so it doesn't matter.
You haven't? Oh, Ryan.
No, because to be fair, I've gone with, I only had enough time to really commit to one program to watch quickly. Make sure I watch every week, and I went for Andor. I'm more of a Star Wars guy than I am a Marvel guy. I will always be. I will always choose Star Wars over Marvel. So, but I already know what happens, so don't worry about spoilers. But if my friend Dave is watching this, stop listening because they're talking She-Hulk.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's do it. Sorrel. Out of 10. Out of 10, what would you give that finale?
About 6, 5 or 6.
Oh,
I wasn't hyped like everyone else was. A lot of people were hyped for it. I personally didn't see it. If I'm honest.
Okay.
It was cool. It was cool. I liked it, but I thought the Kevin robot was a bit stupid. And I didn't like the bit. I liked the bit where she jumped out the screen and sort of like was on the Disney Plus page. I thought that was quite funny. But then they took it to the next level when she starts beating up security guards at Marvel HQ. That were a bit much. I'm like, it got a bit silly then.
What was
I thought the ending were a bit naff as well.
Yeah, it was I do agree. But what I find really interesting is that watching it felt like the episodes were being written each week. Because of the hate and the drama and stuff going on the internet, it felt like they were reacting to the stuff. So they were either very cleverly written, knowing that this show was going to get a lot of hate, or they were somehow magically filming them like on the go. Like, obviously that's not what's happening. But what was that episode? Was it South Park where they show the writers of Family Guy and they were like,
oh, it's manatees in a tank.
Yeah. So
Cartoon Wars Part 1 and 2.
That's it. Yeah. But it reminded me of that with the Kevin robot. I was just kind of like, okay, so Kevin isn't actually the person we know.
Yeah, there's also the South Park. Yeah, so it's also the South Park episode where Cartman is awesome, isn't he? And he's pitching ideas to movie studios. How about we have a movie with?
Yeah,
and it was
kind of like.
I don't know.
But what I thought was really clever about it is that they addressed, and I say she because it was the character, it was the She-Hulk or Jennifer Waters, addressed so many things. Like they hinted on X-Men so much, right from like. Is it Nina that came out with the makeup brushes like Wolverine, and then she even mentions the X-Men. Like it just felt like they were referencing so much. I don't know how I feel about Daredevil. I'm a little bit the jury's out. Have either loved this version or hated. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that was totally intentional for anyone that's watching. But I don't know how I feel. Like I personally really love the costume, and the reason I love the costume is because I don't think we're going to see the yellow and red costume in the shows, in the movies, or anything like that. And it was a very good way of kind of giving us that without fully giving us that, because there was no explanation as to why he was wearing yellow and red. It was just a tailor choice, like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think it
Well,
was.
it might
I
be
think
his
it was
first
good.
suit in this one because it's not the same Daredevil as it's Daredevil starts again, isn't it? So it's like that might have been his first suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Also, I'm just going to point out
how,
there, they might have gone, "What color do you want it?" He's blind.
it's just, yeah, he might, but surely he knows.
He could have asked for red. He's just taken their word for it. Is it red? Yep, definitely red.
Yeah, I mean, the designer was definitely the type of guy that would go, "You're not having all red, like we're going to put some color in it or whatever like that." But I don't know. It's just that character. I can't remember the name of the character, the designer, but he was so like specific with his like choices. The Daredevil costume didn't feel like something he would design. That makes sense. And that was something that clashed for me. I was kind of like, yeah. But yeah, I personally I thought that it represented the comic books. I think it represented She-Hulk very well, and yeah, I think
I mean, I've enjoyed the series up to this point. I've really enjoyed the series. It's been one of the standout ones for me, to be honest. I've enjoyed this one of the most, and I weren't expecting to. And I know that in the comics she breaks the fourth wall, and I know all that kind of stuff. I'm aware of that, and I enjoy that. But I don't know. I felt like there wasn't I know there was a joke ending, but I would have liked to have a more conclusive ending to her story arc from this program. They kind of did the Wayne's World ending. It felt like that to me.
It was.
That's what I mean. It felt like that, and I understand it's because the true ending was at the very end, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a minute. But I don't know. I didn't like the sudden, because the whole episode was building up to that bit, and then they were like, "Oh, and now we're suddenly in daylight, and we're now in outdoors, and we're no longer inside." And it made that whole episode make no sense. It kind of took me out of the whole thing, and I know that's the point, but yeah, I just didn't get it.
I had to warn my mate Dave about the fact we're talking about She-Hulk because he hasn't seen it, and he was like, joined at the wrong time, and then just typed la 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 la. But Steve makes a good point though about like the interesting one about all the hate with the thing. They said if it was a Deadpool series, everyone probably would have loved it, and there is an element of that. Are people saying that there's probably a group of people that will think that only Deadpool was the one that breaks the fourth wall, which is not true by comic standards at all. But because that's what they've seen so far, the problem is I think we forget sometimes that there is actually a huge contingent of fans whose only knowledge and what they're all right. Actually, what I was missing was a bit of Barry White there, and he had a candle and everything. Just whining and dying.
I think I'm slowly getting carbon monoxide poisoning bit by bit by my candles blowing out.
He's just sitting there with a candle light, just like, welcome to the late Geek Weekend Review with SuperSorrell. Yeah, sit back, relax. But there is a group of Marvel fans that have their only knowledge is obviously like the films and the TV. It's only what's been made recently. So there's going to be some interesting like kind of feedback based on a different kind of knowledge.
Yeah.
Back to you, Ken.
Right. So I think there's three things about the finale that I definitely want to talk about. So the intro is the first one. Stephen's there. Well,
Melvin Potter. Melvin Potter / Gladiator who made his suit. Andy Hyde said.
Cool. So the thanks, Ryan. But the intro is definitely worth noting. So it was like a massive homage to obviously the Hulks in the 70s, and it was literally like scene for scene. It was just done really well, and I don't know who the actor is that played She-Hulk, but they did the kind of Lou Ferrigno kind of an actual person instead of the CGI'd. I'm not going to lie, I kind of would have liked to have seen that all the way through.
She's the stunt double. Do you not see the internet blow up this week? So like I like everyone else assumed that they literally just CGI'd the female version of Hulk.
Yeah. That was what I thought.
I assumed that was just CGI. No. There's a stunt double who plays her. She was in the photo. All the cast were on a bed on a
I saw that.
Yeah. And the girl who to the left is painted green. She's the stand-in for She-Hulk. That person's real.
Oh right. Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So I just thought they designed the perfect woman, but apparently she exists. So
yeah, she's actually out.
And the correct answer is it's your wife.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, the intro was definitely good, and I think that's something that has been overlooked with this show is every intro has been different. So it's like the Just Jen intro, this kind of homage to the old version of Hulk like intro, and I think that in itself needs to be given credit. The fact that they filmed a new intro for every single episode is really cool. Abomination, I really didn't like this humanized version of Abomination, and he looked even more soft than he did in Shang-Chi, and I don't know, I didn't
I
like
don't know
it.
why it's so
That was
funny
the
to
only
hear the
bit that I was
description as
I'm like,
soft. I don't know why it amused me so much. Just so
no,
soft.
but it was like seeing his face. It looked all smooth. It looked like he'd been using like moisturizers and stuff. But when you think back to the Hulk film, that second film in the MCU kind of timeline, Abomination was ugly looking. Like, and I know there was a lot of talk at the time because he didn't have his ears and all that kind of stuff. But I think that Abomination looks the part now, but I really don't like the kind of humanized face. It looks like he's, when you get these filters on like TikTok and Snapchat and stuff where it kind of changes your face, but the body's all the same. And that's how it felt to me. I was like, it looks like
These
Abomination is
eyes will
using
tell
like
you whether you're a lover or a hater.
it is, but it looked like a top makeup filter or something like that. But I think the big thing to talk about, and this is a spoiler, I suppose, is in that ending, you have the barbecue. Daredevil's there as a kind of her friend, should we say? I really hope that's explored further. I hope that when we get to Daredevil,
friend with
there is a
legal
tie-in
benefits.
with Jennifer Waters. Yeah, yeah, there you go. But I hope there is a tie-in to Jennifer Waters. I hope she somehow shows up in the show or does something because I really like that chemistry between Daredevil and She-Hulk. But the big thing for me was obviously the inclusion of a certain character for a split second with no explanation at all, but left everyone kind of going, what? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Scar.
Yeah,
yes.
the son of Hulk.
Son of Hulk. Yeah.
Which
Now
more
we
or
all
less
knew that
confirms
he
we're
was
getting World War
coming.
Hulk.
Yeah, so we kind of all knew he was
Matt, I
coming.
love you, but I must break you. Oh, Andy.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, we all kind of knew that storyline was going to play out because there's been a lot of talk about this, about like World War Hulk and Planet Hulk and all that kind of stuff happening. But yeah, just to see him, I don't know. He didn't quite look the way I expected him to look. Is that the right way?
Yeah.
And there was talk of him showing up as a toddler. We're just getting filthy now. But it's but
so
yeah,
I'm just picturing a little baby Hulk in CGI. Smash!
But there was a lot of talk of him being a toddler and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I just when I think of the character, I think of the long hair and the kind of the necklaces and that stuff. And I don't know. He just kind of looked like a bratty teen. But yeah.
But he's on Earth now. He's on Earth now. He's not on his home planet. So I mean, when they do the World War Hulk thing, that's when you might see that version when he's matured a little bit more and he's back on the planet and yeah. We might get that version eventually. Yeah. This is just his introduction and he's on Earth, so they kind of shoved him in some sweatpants and a tank top or whatever.
Yeah, no, definitely. Stephen again with the comments. That comment from Kevin about changing off camera to save the SFX team. Yeah, that made me laugh as well. That was the most kind of fourth wall break that you could possibly do, I think, at that time, because it was on so many levels, and as you say, like all the allegations that were out and stuff like that as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed the bit with Kevin. I thought it was very clever, and enjoyed it a lot. But hey ho. Anything else about the show that you guys want to talk about before we move on to something else?
No, that was kind of it.
Nope. Yeah, I could have quite happily watched a couple more episodes. I think it's been a really refreshing change of direction, and I think with She-Hulk and Werewolf by Night, seeing these two things come out that is a complete change of direction for Marvel and Marvel Studios has been really refreshing. So I'm all for it. All for it. Yeah. So Andor. Do you want to talk Andor?
Let's talk Andor because apparently I'm the only one here watching it. So it's a
I'm
one-sided conversation,
and I'm enjoying it. No, I am watching it and I'm enjoying it, but it's such a slow burn that I'm kind of building it. I'm like building a couple of episodes up to watch together, so I get more out of it when I can watch a couple. So yeah, I've got
it's
a couple to catch
interesting.
up.
So like obviously I've not been here to really talk about any of the episodes yet. I've just genuinely not been when we had any of the discussions on it because it was. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm enjoying like I know a lot of people. It's two camps with it. So there's a huge amount of people that don't like it with it. Welcome back to the room, Dave. Just like Andor, I'm back in the room. Dave has an amazing Star Wars collection, so it is my fellow Star Warsy nerd. But so with Andor, like, it's a very different creature to anything else. It is Star Wars. It's very much a case of it's a spy thriller. So it's really sort of slow. It's groggy. It's gritty. It's dirty. It's awesome, and I really enjoy it. But there are a lot of people I think that just aren't ready for a slow burn Star Wars. They want a quick sort of, normal sort of Star Wars film in a series. They want Mandalorian where something's happening every episode and, do this rather than. And I think that's the thing. It's a very different Star Wars series. And we've not really seen something really different from Star Wars in a series yet. Because even Book of Boba Fett, even though that was a bit of a jumble, like it still thematically seemed to follow more of the Mandalorian format. Obi-Wan obviously was darker, but still had like something happening every episode. This is the first one we've had, which is actually going, no, actually, this is the pace it is. We're setting the pace, and this is the story, how it needs to be told, and everything like that. And I'm really enjoying that. We've just come to the end of like the first sort of mission, if you want to call it that, in this episode. And I'm just genuinely, I'm so excited to see the next episode. I think this show, I'm more excited to see the next episode than I was for Obi-Wan. Like when I've been watching it, I'm more excited to know what's going to happen next episode than Obi-Wan. It's and I think it's because this just feels like we have all these big epics in Star Wars, the Jedi, versus the Sith, and then it's like the Bounty Hunters and there's big battles constantly going on. This is like the really sort of dark and gritty undertones of like real life. This is just like living in that universe. It's seeing normal people in those struggles. It's seeing what the Empire is like on an everyday basis. It's seeing the real world in Star Wars, which is such a weird sentence. I know it doesn't make sense, but I hope someone gets what I mean. But it's like seeing just the everyday gritty boot down on the Republic, and also like it asks those questions. Like, not everyone in Star Wars is a hero. Everyone thinks everyone's got to be part of the rebels. But what about the people that are just trying to survive, or like how do they interact with the people that are so passionate about stopping? And what about the people who just want to make money? Then you got the stuff in the Senate, and it's like interesting Mon Mothma, with her family, like this big divide in it. I mean, there's also some callbacks to some really niche Star Wars knowledge in there, which is awesome. That you'd have to really dig if you have to sort of have played certain games from like the 90s to know one of the references. It's great. But seeing that sort of that conflict there, like it just made me love her character even more because we only seen her in sort of little bits and bobs. We saw her more, got developed more in Rebels, but this has been really developing Mon Mothma's character, and it's interesting to see someone who comes from like an opulent lifestyle of the rich, trying to and her family just don't understand why she cares about the poor and the people she interacts with, and it's a really interesting dynamic. But so it's difficult because like I said, if you haven't seen it, it's very hard to discuss. But it's a really good series, and I hope anyone else out there watching is enjoying it too. I genuinely cannot wait for Wednesdays and/or Wednesdays. I even get up early from work just to go and watch it.
Oh, sorry. Just no, I'm really pleased that you're that passionate about it. I really am.
I think I'm not sure how Jacob feels. I think if it was about any other character other than Cassian, the fact that I know his ending really makes me not interested. If they'd have made this about another character that we had not met before, we don't know his fate, I would have been a lot more invested. The fact that they're putting him in the like, this is a really dangerous mission, Cassian. It's like, yeah, he's gonna die soon anyway. So who gives?
Well, did you not think that you didn't want to watch episode 1, 2, and 3 because Anakin's fate?
No, but it's where the story's gonna go. It's different. Like this whole like the whole point of Rogue One was it was a suicide mission. I don't need to know his backstory. I don't need it. But if you'd have had a program about another rebel or another other character playing that role, and then Cassian was in it with him, I'd have been more interested in that. But the fact that all the characters in it, I already know who they all are, and I'm not interested at all.
But the point of the show is the whole point of them doing the show is like it's showing how does someone get to the point of where Andor is. How do you get to the point where you're like, a rebel who does horrible things in this, in the name of trying to do the right thing. It's a character journey about how do you get to a point in life where you've done so many wrong things to do the right thing. Like that's the sort of point of it. And I think that wouldn't work if it was a new character, because I wouldn't give a shit, because that's not something I want to explore for someone I don't know. But I would love to know that this character who's done all these horrible things in the name of the rebellion when we're trying to fight the Empire, he's a really complex character. And I actually, respectfully, sir, in a scholarly way, disagree. That I think it only works because it's Andor, and I don't think it would have worked if it was a new character.
Yeah, I'm on the fence between the two of you, because I completely agree with Sorrell in the respect of when I first started watching it, my opinion was when like what Sorrell said when he was like, oh yeah, this is really dangerous, like that first kind of shoot off where they're all in the where he first meets the guy from Thor. I can't remember the actor's name, but
Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah. Like it was like things falling down and chains flying around, and I was kind of like, well, I know he's going to be all right. He's going to get through it. But I do agree with what you're saying, is that it does kind of change Rogue One because you know more about this particular character. So I'm kind of between two camps on it. I don't know. Like I am enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, but I must respectfully disagree with your argument about the prequels, because for me that was about seeing where Luke and Leia came from. Like, yes, I knew the fates of the people in it, but it was kind of seeing the story of what made them so special. Whereas that was all part of the Skywalker saga, and it was kind of like the prequels to these three epic films that were, rewatched over Christmases and stuff like that. Like Rogue One, I really enjoyed. Rogue One is an amazing film. But if you would ask me pre-Andor if we needed a prequel to Rogue One, I would have said no. Like, I think it's clever how they've done a prequel to a film that essentially already has films that are prequel to it, if that makes sense. Like, they've kind of branched off and given us something. But I don't know. Like, I like the fact that there's no Jedi and lightsabers, and it's away from all of that. I think that's a really bold move, but I think it's good. And I think that if they can do that with more Star Wars property, it will help build this universe even more. And it is kind of cool seeing the guys on the ground, but there is that little kind of voice in the back where I'm kind of like, I drift off because I'm like, oh, I know this isn't a dangerous mission. Like, it might be a dangerous mission, but he is going to survive. So it will build his character and he'll, yada, yada, yada. So I find myself drifting when I watch it sometimes. But then, like I said, I've still got a couple of episodes to catch up on. So my attitude might change when it kind of further builds that
a lot
story,
happens in the last two episodes, but I think it's not so much about watching something to see if he survives, it's seeing what he does to survive. I think that's the difference. You're not watching to see if he survives, you're watching to see what he has to do to survive. And you watch these next couple of episodes that you watch, I think makes an interesting turn.
Yeah,
it's caused a lot of discussion in the comments, actually.
My advice to everyone when it first started, because they released 3 episodes at the beginning, didn't they, all in one go. And my advice to when people were asking me, "Oh, what do you think of Andor? Is Andor worth it?" I watched the first episode, I'm not sure. And my advice was watch all 3 before you come to a conclusion, because the 3 episodes kind of tell a story. They kind of set up where the series is going, and
it's like an opening mini movie, sort of, the 3 episodes, isn't it?
And I was like, you can't judge it on one. You have to watch all 3, and that's why they've released all 3 at the same time. So I'm very much kind of on the fence. Like, am I enjoying it? Yes. Am I getting up for work early to watch it on the day it comes out? No. Like, that's where I am with it.
Some good points in the comments.
Do you know what I think I'm ready for, to be honest? I think as much as I'm looking forward to Ahsoka, I'm looking forward to seeing where the Rebels ended up and stuff like that. I'm really looking forward to all that stuff. But I think I'm also getting to the point with Star Wars now where I enjoy it, but I'm looking forward to a story that's set away from the timeline we already know. I think it's time for a change of time period again to a place that we're not aware of, about people we don't know. So it's all right giving all these spin-offs to all these characters, but at some point it's going to get so convoluted and so like it's just going to get so messy. Whereas I think if they move away now and sort of go, we're going to sort of say we're going to do Old Republic again, or we're going to do something that's beyond what we already know, and have a whole cast of new characters. I think that's what Star Wars needs to refresh itself now, to show that it's not about the characters, it's not about Boba Fett, it's about the grander universe.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Star Wars
can
still pull you in without having to have Boba Fett, without having to have Mandalorian, because Mandalorian did that in essence in the beginning. It kind of showed you an area of the universe, like Star Wars, you wanted to know about the Mandalorian, the bounty hunters, and it didn't have all the cameos to begin with. It was very much its own thing, and I loved that. And then they seem to have gone down that road with Baby Yoda and Ahsoka, and I know that was probably the grand plan, but I wish they'd have stayed clear from that and kept something that was something that's always new that we're not aware of, without characters that we're already tied to.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. This is our perfect opportunity to proper prank Ryan as well. So when he comes back, we'll prank him a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, but I'm the same, and I kind of always judge my interest on something on how much I want to buy an action figure. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't want to buy a lot. I'm not knocking anyone that these action figures apply to, because there's lots of Black Series figures coming out, but I'm not kind of jumping at any of them and kind of going, wow, I need that figure in my collection. I need that representation of that character in my collection. But I think your point there, and if anyone disagrees with me, then let me know. But I think your point about kind of coming completely away from this timeline and this time period, it'd be cool to have something that was maybe set 500 years in the future from this, and seeing where things are, or even kind of way before the Jedis and stuff, when it was all kind of being established, like some of the really old Republic stuff, or something like that. Like, I'd really like to see that in film format. But yeah, I don't know. We'll wait for Ryan to come back before carrying on. He's gone in to log in another account as another name. And I add things like, Ryan's the best.
See, I'm quite hypocritical with Star Wars. On one hand, I'm saying that, like, yeah, we need to move away from all this. And on the other hand, I'm going, but where's my Dr. Aphra CGI television series?
Yeah, there you go. But there are certain, there are certain properties within Star Wars that we would love to see. And I'm really excited for the Tales of the Jedi. Is that what it's called? The kind of Clone Wars-esque. Cool. Just to see these kind of prequel stories to characters. And that is very contradictory to what I'm saying. But I suppose what I said a minute ago, I never expected there to be a prequel to Rogue One. I loved Rogue One as a standalone thing. It was one of my favorite Star Wars kind of films at the time. But yeah, it was, yeah. There we go. There you go. A bit of love as well. You're not alone there, Sorrell. Aphra would be cool in live action, but I think there's a lot of characters that would be cool in live action. I really do. But yeah. Sorrell, where'd you get your hoodie?
The hoodie came in one of the Culture Fly boxes that I got from Culture Fly. It was the DC box, and it was full of like bounty hunter style stuff. So I had loads of Suicide Squad and stuff like that. But the hoodie's awesome. I got this one, and I've got Green Arrow as well. I got 2 hoodies from Culture Fly. They're awesome. Oh,
nice one. So yeah, all right, we're gonna have to move on because Ryan's gone to the toilet or something. He's just done one. Let's talk very quickly. Let's talk MCM, because you mentioned Green Arrow there. It makes me think of Smallville, and it has been announced. Have you seen the lineup of who is going to be at MCM now?
I've not.
Tom Welling, Mr. Superman himself, is going to be there. Let me just get the exact lineup here. So there's all the standard people, but you've got Tom Welling, you have got Laura Vandervoort, who played Supergirl in Smallville, and you've got Erica Durance as well, who was obviously Lois, and the three of them are going to be at MCM London, and there is a photo op to get a picture with all three of them. Have a guess what the trio, so to get all three of them in one photo op, how much they are charging. Bear in mind that the price for Tom Hiddleston alone was like a few £100. So to get Tom Welling, Vandervoort, and Erica Durance, so Supergirl, Superman, and Lois Lane.
320.
No, actually, it's 191. 191.
That's not bad.
It isn't, is it? It isn't. But when you look at it individually, for the two women, it's £60 to just get a picture with them. But if you're going to get a picture with just Tom Welling on his own, it's a little bit more expensive than that. So 60 quid for each of the ladies, £94 for Mr. Tom Welling. So if you're going to get a picture with him, surely you're going to pay the extra 100 quid and get the other two as a bonus anyway. Yeah. But it's really, it's pulling at my my nostalgia strings, because I loved Smallville, absolutely loved it when it was out, and you know, Tom Welling's kind of version of Superman, but it wasn't quite Superman, was it? But his version of Clark Kent is one of my favorites. I was a huge fan. So to see the three of them there, and to get an opportunity to get a photograph with all three of them, yeah, I don't know, but is it worth £191? That's a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? That's heating for 2 weeks. Like, do you know what I mean?
It's a minute, yeah.
That's the thing. That is the thing. But also some of the other guests that are there. So you've got a handful of the different doctors that are turning up. Of course, like Sylvester McCoy is there. You've also got say again.
Alan Tudyk's there as well. Alan Tudyk.
Yeah. Anthony Daniels, old C3PO, is there as well. But yeah, there's quite a few people that are actually going to be there. But yeah, when they announced the Smallville trio, I was kind of like, yeah, I can.
And of course, Joe Thomas. Mate,
Who,
Joe
sorry?
Thomas is there. Joe Thomas.
Oh, really? I didn't see that one.
Friend.
Oh, I didn't see that. What day?
Joe Thomas from In-Betweeners is there.
Really?
Yeah. Friend. He's there Saturday.
Oh, see, I'm on Saturday at the moment.
Yeah, he's there. We're not alone in the In-Betweeners, Joe Thomas.
Colin Baker's there. I must have completely missed that
Colin
one.
Baker is at every con. Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy must travel up and down the country to every single convention I've ever been to, because they're both always there, without fail.
Sylvester McCoy is always there, let's be honest. I'm just having a look here, having a quick look on it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in two minds. I'm like, do I do it? Do I not do it? It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But yeah, the warmth in your heart is worth being cold for 2 weeks, mate. Shall I tell you what though? I met Jason David Frank. Is that right? Is that the right way around?
Yeah.
But the Green Ranger. So it was one of my birthdays. My birthdays is always in October. And my kids got me the photo experience with him, and it's the first one I've had for quite some time, and it was just super awkward. I found it really really awkward being like a fully grown man at a similar age to Jason David Frank as well, and then kind of going through, and I was just there in a t-shirt, like this kind of t-shirt. Oh, we lost Ryan. I was just there in like a t-shirt, and he was there in like a suit and everything. And I was just kind of like, it's a little bit awkward. And I don't know. I don't know whether meeting those three would be super awkward and costing me 190 odd quid. But yeah, but they're there for the weekend. So, and we've also got the Hasbro team over as well. So I'm definitely going to be going down. It's just a case of whether we are, I don't know. The jury's out. But if it comes, if it's a couple of weeks and I'm like, look at my photo, or I've got no photo. But yeah, so that's that. Something else that I think we should talk about. Let's talk about Marvel Legends for a quick second. So the HasLab Galactus has been landing, and the Facebook groups.
Oh yeah, of course it has.
Instagram and everything is just full of pictures and pictures and pictures of Galactus.
The day you all got it. The day you all
here we
got
go.
it made me
Here
laugh.
we go. Here we go.
There we go. Yeah.
I didn't buy it.
You not got yours yet?
I
He
didn't
didn't buy it.
Ooh.
Remember, he last minute he decided against it.
I pulled out at the very last minute, like a
I
lot
thought
of
you got
bad
that one.
relationships. But yeah, it's an adult show. But no, I kind of regret it. I do regret it, but I don't know. At the last minute, I was kind of like, you know what? I've not fully enjoyed the Sentinel yet, and so back in something else of such high value, I don't know. I was kind of like, and I think as well.
Waiting.
Go on.
I'm waiting for all the videos next week of the HasLab broke my shelf. I'm waiting for all the smash pictures of that big bad boy. Someone shoved in a Dettol cabinet and it's obliterated the cabinet.
So there's been a few of them already. There has been a few of them already. But no, my number one reason for not backing it was the backers went through the roof at the last minute, didn't they? So I was kind of like, you know what, my investment isn't going to make a difference at this point. They've unlocked all the tiers. They've got the full package and everything like that. So me not backing it is not going to make a difference. It's not going to dent the project. And there were so many people buying multiple because of the success of the Sentinel that I guarantee there will be Galactuses for sale at retail, if not less, in a year or two. So if you haven't backed it, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to pick up one on the second-hand market at retail, if not below retail, because so many people were buying them as an investment. And I think that the difference with the Sentinel was that people hadn't backed it and then wanted it. So I was kind of like, you know what, if it's my fate to have a Galactus in my collection, it will happen. It will happen. But yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've just comments coming up, so I'm just putting Stephen's comments. I will put some other people's comments up in a minute, but yeah, I'm the same. And yeah, they're up for like 800 quid at the moment, which is ridiculous. But I like watching the analytics of figures and prices and stuff, and a lot of people invested in the Galactus based on the Sentinel, and that's it's not the same. So I think that
Dave agrees with your logic.
Yeah, I think that there will be a lot on the yeah.
And he said he's just looked at eBay and chuckled at the price that they've been listed for already.
It's I mean, so that's you heard it here first. So it's all the comments are coming up now. All the comments are coming up. But yeah, I agree. My logic was that I got the Sentinel and there were people that were begging people for their I didn't back it or I couldn't back it, so I'll pay you X amount of money, I'll pay you this. And the Sentinel has still got a high value price because so many people didn't back it. Galactus then came out and people were buying multiple because of the idea that it would pay for itself, that you would buy two, you could sell one for almost double the value, and essentially you get a Galactus for free. And that's how a lot of people were backing it. And I think that a lot of people are going to be left with multiple Galactuses where people aren't left with multiple Sentinels. So I was kind of like, you know what? Can I really afford to spend £400 on this at the time? I was like, I could get it, but I would regret spending that money at the time. So I thought if it's meant to be, I'll pick one up when I pick one up. But I'm kind of glad I didn't at the moment, just because there's so much out there, like videos and reviews. And yeah, I'm not a big fan. But while we're on the subject of HasLabs, I do think it looks incredible. And so far, I've not seen any real issues. Like the Sentinel, there was a big thing about the knees. And with Galactus, we've not really seen any issues. I've seen a few people post videos of ones that are packaged badly, or there's paint rub, or there's bits that are bent and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know.
So I'm just looking on eBay now at the Galactus thing now.
Yeah.
And chunk of money. Some people are selling the unlocks separately. What I do, I think a lot of them are going like, here, HasLab, tiers included. Someone's got one listed for £800. Buy it now.
Oh, I know. But my logic, right? So to support my logic, right? To support my logic, if people didn't buy it to make a profit, why are there so many on eBay now for a higher price than they went for?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because you've literally got this thing. You've only just got this thing in your hand. So if you had backed this project because you wanted Galactus on your shelf, it wouldn't be on eBay already. There might be one or two because they paid for it at the time and they could really do with the money now. But why at such a high level? I've seen some people selling it for the price they paid for it because they would rather have the money now. But and this is the same with all figures. When a figure comes out and it's hot property, if you're not buying it to flip it and make a profit, why is it on auction sites literally the week that you got it in hand or the day that you got it in hand? So the fact that there are so many on eBay now kind of add weights to my logic. And I think that, there will be people that will buy it. There will be people that buy it that, there's that fear of missing out. They weren't collecting at the time. They couldn't afford it at the time. They see one go up on eBay. They pay the higher rate because it's kind of like, oh, that's what I've got to do because I wasn't around. But there are so many out there at the minute. I guarantee the price will drop at some point. Guarantee. What I find really funny is people trying to sell the old Galactus now, like the Build-A-Figure version and that, for a couple of £100. And it's kind of like, come on, mate. Like I
think because they're hoping people are going to buy it and not realize that they've bought the wrong one.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Build-A-Figure
just get excited.
one.
Oh, Galactus for 200, yeah.
I had the Build-A-Figure one, and I also had the Marvel Universe version as well that came with like the mini Silver Surfer, and they're both cool figures for what they are. But I sold my Build-A-Figure one at the time that the HasLab took place because I was like, I will replace you with the HasLab at some point. But yeah, I don't know. But while we're on the subject of HasLab, Ghost Rider's not doing very well, is it?
It's not moved. It's not moved in a week.
I don't think it will back.
128. It's dropped. I think it's dropped slightly.
It's dropping. I'm checking it every day.
I don't think it's going to work.
It drops every day. Literally every day it is losing backers, which is really
people have realized they're not going to get those tiers. They're not going to the promised Goblin Queen and promised what do you call him, Big Demon Boy. They're not going to get him. So Mephisto. So pull out now.
So Boog Nice from ACBA did a really good interview with the three guys from the Marvel panel. And if you haven't seen it, go and check out, look for Boog Nice on YouTube, and he does a really good interview. And he asks the questions, like he's a really good guy anyway. And I chat to him on Instagram and stuff, but he's a really decent bloke. But he asks the questions that we're all kind of asking, but in a really respectful way, without really like taking the piss or anything like that. Like, so if you want to see the guys answer the questions that everyone's kind of asking, go and check out his interview. It's spot on. And he asks the questions about the price, and he's a backer as well. He's somebody that's in support of the HasLab project and the HasLab idea and everything, and he is backing this project. My backing is there. I've backed it, and I will make my decision nearer the day whether I'm gonna go through with it or not. But my theory is that if on initial announcement, if it's something that I'm like, oh, actually I would quite like that, regardless of all the drama that goes with it, I'll put my back in because I can pull it out at the last minute if I'm not interested, same as I did with Galactus. But yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to make it. Yeah, I mean, it's like Dave says it there, look in the comments. It's the Rancor all over again. I think it is. I think the HasLab magic has kind of worn off a little bit. And I think
it was the price point. It was the price point. It hasn't. The magic hasn't worn off. If they'd have put that up for 200 rather than 300 and something, they'd have got backers.
No, but when I say the magic has worn off, is that back in the day of the Razor Crest, of the Sail Barge, of the Sentinel, it was a new kind of concept, and people were like, "Wow, this is amazing." At the time, people might have gone, "Oh, it's a little bit more than I'd like to spend, but this is brilliant, so I'm gonna back it." Whereas there's been so many HasLab HasLab projects pushed out, I think Power Rangers is the only property not to have one. I think all of the other Hasbro properties have had it. Like even the Ghostbusters had like the backpack, the backpack.
Power
and
Rangers and D&D in it.
Yeah, and D&D is a really fresh one.
How's the board game doing? Hero Quest.
Not very good either.
So I don't think the board game's doing very well either.
Again, price point is ridiculous for what it is.
Yeah, but that's what I mean is I think the magic has worn off, that people are now kind of going, oh, okay, you're asking this much money for this, you know.
I think that's the thing. You can't just, you are right, the magic's gone. They can't just say it's HasLab and this is the price, you're going to pay it. Because now actually people are going, you're right, they've got comparison. They're going, well, I paid this much and got this much. Why am I paying this more and getting less? And, you know, you are right. I think that's where the magic has gone, because you can't just say that's HasLab, because now it's like, actually they're, you know, they're all of it, you know, if that makes sense. You know, they've all got comparisons. And the other thing is people have got less money now than when they did a couple of years ago. The world is a very different place from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I agree and I disagree with that comment, because people always find the money for things they want to spend it on. Do you know what I mean? They will justify it one way or another. But I think the first part of your comment, in the respect of people questioning how much things are, I don't think there's a sea of people out there that really want the Ghost Rider HasLab but can't afford it. I think people are vocal in the respect of, if this was worth the money, I would spend the money. I'd find the money. I'd beg, borrow, steal, or whatever. Whereas now people are being a lot more kind of vigilant with their spending in that respect. Stug said there as well that the tiers should have been Ghost Rider characters. And, you know, I totally agree. I do massively agree with that. They do address that in the Boog interview, and they say that basically this was their opportunity to give us characters that we've been asking for that they can't give us. Yeah, so but yeah, it's just their characters that they couldn't give us, and that's why they weren't Ghost Rider related. David Dead, FOMO, yep, and it does say a lot, doesn't it? If people are pulling out because that you know, there's not that fear of missing out at all. People are quite vocal that they've not backed. And that's what I found really interesting, is there's a lot of people that align themselves to Hasbro and to Marvel Legends that are quite openly making videos and making posts about why they're not backing it, which is huge. We are running short of time, so we do need to get onto some figure news. But before we do, Mephisto is one of the tiers in this one. Did you hear the news today? No. Did you hear the Mephisto news?
No.
Who is supposedly being cast in the MCU as Mephisto? Like this is a really hot rumor that seems to have some weight. No, it's almost like worse than that, but better.
Oh no.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
I'm not mad at that. He's a character actor. Not mad at that.
I wasn't. Like when I first saw it,
bloody good actor.
He's amazing. He's incredible. And
when you say the name Sacha Baron Cohen, people just think of Ali G and Borat. They don't think of the characters he's done on Broadway, the things he's done on film that you don't even realise are him.
No, and that's the thing, is that there you go, like Andy straight away. Ali G just comes straight up. That's what people think of. But the thing that annoyed me is that the websites that are sharing this information have literally put pictures of Borat, pictures of Ali G, and it's kind of like, you know what, this guy has got such range. Like he is, I think I don't want to say perfect, but I want to say perfect. I think he could really pull off the character. And I got really excited when I saw it. I had the pleasure of working on the film with him, the Grimsby film with it, and had a bit of a chance to kind of chat to him. And the guy is like, he's a genuinely nice bloke as well. And I think that, yeah, I just think it's going to be amazing. I really hope that it's thingy. But supposedly, just to kind of round off this bit of the show, what's the guy from Breaking Bad that was in talks with MCU? I can't remember. I can never pronounce his name. That was in
Bryan Cranston?
Mandalorian. No, Mandalorian, Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
You know who plays? What's his name?
Oh yeah, I'm just really enjoying you with names. It's just really funny.
You know I'm rubbish with names.
I know, but it's really funny.
What's his name?
What's my surname?
Giancarlo Esposito.
That's the one. So he's been in talks with Marvel and at MCU and stuff, and supposedly that was the role he was in talks with them about playing Mephisto, but he turned it down. And Sacha Baron Cohen. There you go. Thanks,
Yeah.
Dave. And supposedly he turned it down, and then it went to Sacha Baron Cohen. And I am not mad at all. I really am not mad at all. I think it'd be amazing.
I don't think I'd want Esposito playing that character. To be honest,
I think
he's a good actor, but
it's a very different version of Mephisto than what Sacha Baron Cohen would bring. But yeah,
you got Harrison Ford as General Ross as well.
Yeah, we sort of touched on that rumor last week. I hope that it's kind of real because I think it will be quite cool as well. But yeah,
he's probably a good dynamic with late great William Hurt. So it's probably one of the only ones that probably could do it.
One thing it did confirm to me is if he has been cast as Mephisto in the MCU, then we will be getting a MCU version of Mephisto in Legends form at some point. So we're not really missing out on Mephisto, but not back in the HasLab. So swings and roundabouts. Let's talk about toys.
Toy news. Yes, the toy news. The toy news. So this week we had quite a lot of stuff actually to get on with. The first thing that randomly came out, which I thought was quite weird, was this bad boy. He just dropped out of nowhere, didn't he? The Moon Knight. This guy ended up in his hands instantly. Where did that come from?
You know what? I was angry. I was angry at this one. I'm not even going to lie. I was angry.
I'm surprised.
What? That
it
was
a hard to get figure. Yeah, it was a hard to get figure, and everyone had one, and now it's nosedived, doesn't it? Everyone's got one.
Like it was. The reason I was angry is that there's zero like real differences. Like they've painted his eyes. They've painted his eyes slightly different, and they've included the bow staff in this new version. Whereas the older version didn't have the bow staff and the eyes were painted differently. But I was just frustrated. I was kind of like, you know what? If you're gonna do a modern Moon Knight,
Stephen's comment. Sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah, he does. He does look like he's wearing Crocs. He does look like he's wearing Crocs. Let's just make sure that one goes up. Yeah, he does look like he's wearing Crocs. Thanks for ruining that visual for us all, Stephen. That's amazing. But
Moon Knight's got to be comfy, man.
Croc Knight. But I was just angry. I was kind of like, you know what? If you're gonna reissue this figure, make it pinless or give us something extra that makes it like I've got a dozen of those staffs laying around. Like I think I've even given that figure a staff from another figure. But yeah, it was a hard to get figure. It was one that, you know, yes, I'm always pleased for new collectors when a figure is kind of revisited. But this was a blatant just, oh look, we found a box of these. Moon Knight was popular. We've got a box of these laying around. Let's just run off a few more, put them in a new box and sell them again. And yeah, it made me angry. I was kind of like, come on, like, you know.
One of the best things to get announced this week, and I think Ryan will agree with me, was the fact that in America on the Disney Store, they dropped when Jake stopped looking at his phone and accepts my image to go on the screen. That'd be awesome.
Sorry, my thing was not
Press accept the image, Jacob, and I'll continue. Thank you.
Oh, there we go.
Jacob's got the magic button. So on the DisneyStore.com, we got the Droid Factory Advent Calendar, which we don't think is getting a UK release, sadly. It looks like this is going to be American exclusive. I know. One of the guys, I've forgotten the gentleman's name. I think it's Paul on the Droid group, Astromech UK. He reached out to Disney and they denied all knowledge of this coming to the UK. They normally do that, but the email he got seemed pretty official, sort of saying, you know, this, we are aware of it. It's on the American website, but it's not coming to the UK. Which is a shame, because we've got all the single releases this year. We've had all the releases so far. Really, they've taken a little bit longer to get to.
We have money. Do they not want our money? I don't get this business model at all. They keep doing stuff like this, and it's like it's not even like something that should be. An advent calendar sells loads, so
we're gonna have to rely on like double box toys and eBay to get this bad boy.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. The thing is, I have actually seen what the droids look like inside. So,
yeah, I've got an image, but Jacob's disappeared.
Well, do we want to spoil it for people?
Well, it's on the Disney Store website. Disney Store have put that image out there themselves.
What, of all the different pieces?
Yeah. They've put all the pieces, images out. They do with all the Lego ones, though. They always tell you what's in the calendar. They always tell you. You just don't know what day you're going to get them. But it builds up to, I think it's 3
6
astromechs. Is it 6 droids? Yeah, it's because you've got the Gonk droid, the BB unit, 3 astromechs, and what's the other one?
Oh, no, maybe 5.
5 droids. That makes sense. Yeah, 5, 25. Yeah, 25 days. So, yeah, be 5 droids.
Because you'll probably get a leg, body, leg, head, and then a hat and a 5th leg.
Yeah, like a hat leg, for make up for the BB unit one, because that's only 3 pieces. 4 pieces. But yeah, I'm gonna try and get one. I'm not gonna lie. I've got access to the merch queens, which I'll give them a shout out here. If you want to grab stuff like that in the UK, the merch queens, and there's also bounty hunter smugglers on Facebook. They're in Orlando. They can get a hold of these things and ship them out to us. So there is hope in the galaxy. Empires are built on hope.
Nice.
Yeah. So other than that, I'm sharing screen again. Then we got lots of NECA news. NECA dropped this bad boy, which everybody I think will be excited for. The brand new Prey Predator is coming. The Savage Predator, I believe it's been called. So yeah, they've only teased this image so far. We don't know what accessories it's going to come with, but it looks awesome. I'm going to get it. That Prey movie was awesome.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Very, very good.
Yeah. The best news this week, I'm not gonna lie, I got really excited. If this ends up being true, then I am literally just gonna be so excited. Share screen. This takes so long. I try and do this while I'm talking and trying to blab. There we go. And Power Rangers meet Cobra Kai apparently is the hot news right now that is supposedly meant to be happening. It's been all over like Toy News International, Toy Arc, and they're not normally wrong. We have got the Hasbro thing, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a minute. But we have got the Hasbro 1027 coming up. This could be the thing they're going to announce at 1027 for Power Rangers.
It would be cool. It makes sense as for 2 franchises to cross over, but I mean, like, it's interesting. You say Toy News International. I remember that when that was American Dream Comics. That's how long I used to go on that website.
But do you know what I think is going to be good about this? One theory I have with this line is that because they're going to want to cash in on Mighty Morphin. And we've been asking for so long for depowered versions of the Power Rangers. Because I do highly doubt they're going to give us Cobra Kai powered up Rangers. That would be cool, but I don't think it would happen. I reckon they're going to make Hasbro action figures of the likes of, your Danny LaRusso's and all the characters.
Oh, versus a depowered Jason.
Versus depowered Jason, depowered Tommy, Zach. They can give them all the depowered versions. And of course, then if they're going to give us like I forgot the names of some of the characters, but like the girl characters, we've got Trini, we've got Kimberly. They could do like versus packs almost and have it like, Danny LaRusso versus, Red Ranger or, you know what I mean, of Jason. They could do stuff like that.
That would be very cool.
Alpha 5.
That would be very cool. That's a really good theory, though, to be fair. And I think that, that would be spot on.
Because the story would literally be that there's a karate tournament in Angel Grove. Because in the original TV series, they were doing karate at the Angel Grove gymnasium, and they were in their own little dojo. So I mean, that would make sense for them to cross over with the depowered versions of the Cobra Kai. It would just make perfect sense.
But the thing is they wouldn't Cobra Kai is such a hot topic right now, and Power Rangers obviously coming up to the 30th anniversary and all the rest of it. Like they could literally just push these 2 packs out without any explanation, and people would buy them. Like they would sell. Like I think they would sell on the weight of Cobra Kai alone. So I think you're right. I don't think they would need to put in a huge amount of effort with the Power Ranger element, and they could do the depowered ones. Because the Cobra Kai figures would sell. I mean, I would definitely buy them for the Cobra Kai figures alone. I mean, I know Diamond Select have done a few of the Cobra Kai figures and the Karate Kid figures and stuff, but to have like a Hasbro version with all the points of articulation that we've got with the Power Rangers and the Marvel Legends and Star Wars, etc. That would be an instant didn't buy it for me.
If they do a Cobra Megazord, then maybe I'll partake.
That's the thing. I was like sat there pondering about it, and I'm like, I can't imagine Power Rangers fans without a comic book or anything behind it getting behind getting behind the idea of, oh, it's Danny LaRusso is now using the power of the Cobra to morph into the Cobra Rangers. Like, no, that's just.
Let's be perfectly honest with you. Let's talk 1027 in a sec, just while we're talking about
Cobra morphing.
Cobra Kai, but you animal wise, like you've got Cobra for Cobra Kai. Well, surely like Johnny would take that or whatever. Like the bonsai Zord. What would you like? There's not. They've got Hawk, haven't they? Hawk's a character. He could be the Hawk Zord or whatever. But apart from that, there's not really any. There's no other animal tie-ins. You've got a Cobra, you've got a Hawk, and that's it.
The Miyagi Megazord sounds pretty good, though.
The what?
The Miyagi Megazord sounds pretty good.
Can you imagine a big mech of like Mr. Miyagi, like? But yeah,
It's Miyagi time.
I just think it'd be a very cool crossover, and Cobra Kai really is going strength to strength, and I believe they've announced that there's going to be one more season of it, and then that's it. Yeah. I think that there was talk at one point of one more season and then a film, but I don't know. But yeah, they're going to want to cash in on this while it's hot topic. Like, you know, people that had never even seen the films are watching it.
The Karate Adult was the film name.
I think the film is meant to be different from the television series, though, isn't it? It's not like a continuation. It's still set within the universe of that character arc, but I believe it's different people. I don't believe it's going to be set during the Cobra Kai sort of era.
No.
So Miyagi-verse, keep calling it.
So moving on, 1027 has obviously been announced. So Pulse Premium, for anybody that doesn't know, Pulse Premium members have special access to an extra live stream. 1027, it's basically their address, but that's why it's called 1027. But it's for Pulse Premium members. They get access to a special live stream event, which is hosted by a friend of the show, Steve Evans. And he did it last year, and he's obviously doing it this year with help from Emily, which I believe who is on the... She's on the D&D team now, or is she still on the...
She's on a few teams now. She's on the G.I. Joe teams. She's on G.I. Joe. She's on Star Wars Vintage, and
she's on a few of them.
Yeah,
they're supposedly doing it. Now, I don't know where this is going to go, because last year you had the Hasbro Pulse Con, and then the next day you had 1027, and 1027 was like an extension of the convention for premium members, and it was very cool. They showed us around the inside of the building. There was a few reveals that were kind of given away at that time as well. But this one is taking place quite a few weeks after the actual con. So I don't know what to expect with this. I'm not going to lie. I'm no longer a premium member. I cancelled my membership only because they doubled the price of it, and you can still get free shipping on orders over a certain amount. So I was kind of like, you know what? I'm not getting enough from Hasbro that I'm purchasing that was worth me paying like 40 quid a year. So I was like, but yeah, so I'll just kind of watch that through somebody else when they post the reveals, because that's the big thing of it. But it is a good event. If anyone is a premium member, it's definitely worth tuning into. It was good fun last year. I'll be excited to see what they do with it this year. But yeah, so who knows what's going to be revealed there. But I don't think it's going to be anything, I don't know, like, that's going to break the internet or anything. It'll be a couple of little things that we hadn't seen or hadn't heard of.
Well, 27, that's a few days before the end of the HasLab, so I'm guessing the Marvel Legends team are going to have one hell of a final push. But then again, Dan Young will be overseas at that point, surely, wouldn't he? Because when's the Comic Con?
29th to the 30th. No,
so
29th to the 31st, maybe.
I wonder if Dan and that'll like Emily and Dan will be, because they're obviously they're coming across to London, aren't they?
Well, this is very interesting, because I think Emily's
they're going to need to be in the UK to like get used to time difference for a couple of days, surely. They're not just going to fly them in and throw them in a massive Comic Con, surely.
When is 1027 taking place?
What? You just asked that out loud.
What date? Oh, it's taking place on the 27th of the 10th. Yeah, what an idiot.
That's what
What an
you're saying.
idiot. What an idiot. What an idiot. But yeah, because
27th.
it threw me because last year Hasbro Pulse Con was literally the day before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But if that's taking place on the 27th, the MCM takes place on the 28th through to the 30th.
Oh, 28th, 29th, 30th. Yeah,
it's-
Steve just put it up on there.
Hang on, didn't I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I see now. Yeah, Steve said it as well. Sorry, I was kind of like, hang on, I'm sure that's what I just said. But yeah, so if she's co-hosting this, is she co-hosting it from Hasbro HQ, or is she co-hosting it from
London?
England?
Are they going to be on site at the booth? Is Steve going to throw it over to them and they're going to live stream?
Oh, Dave just made a good point. It could just be pre-recorded.
Oh yeah.
Don't ruin our dreams, Dave. Don't tangle the
Come
dream
on.
and take it away. It's all live, just like
Come on.
Hasbro Pulse Con. It's all live.
Everything is magic. But yeah, okay, it's probably re-recorded. But yeah, but that's
Oh, the
essentially
magic
it.
is gone now.
So we got anything else? Anything else this week before we kind of round up? Any other toy news?
There were a few other things, but I won't throw photos up just for time conscious. But we did get the NECA did also announce the Nun Valak from Conjuring is getting another figure. Obviously, they made the cloth version. This is the as a part of the regular 7-inch line of their Ultimate series. So I'm not sure what accessories that could include, but that if they include the portrait to put in front of her face, that would be awesome. Then we get in the Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm not sure what that's going to be. Super 7 have the current figure license, so I'll be interested to see what NECA do. But they teased a photo of Jack and Sally in the moonlight, so that could be interesting.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and then Masters of the Universe going to be, a part of the it's not the Origins line, but it's like part of that new Masterverse box, blue box thing they're doing. They're going to be giving us the movie versions. And the He-Man figure is quite cool because it comes with the Dolph Lundgren head and it also comes with the regular He-Man head. So you can have the movie attire for your He-Man, but without Dolph Lundgren's face.
He-Man stuff has been doing really, really well. They have been strength to strength.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, we got a question quick. You got your Horseman yet?
No, it's not shipped yet. It's doing my head in because I saw that display model behavior. David got his was on the shelf, and I'm like, where's mine? But yeah, it's on its way.
Didn't you get yours in the second batch? Though?
I got mine in the second batch, so I'll be one of the last people to get.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, and I suppose one other thing to quickly discuss before we come off the air, because we were all discussing it in our group chat, was that 30th anniversary of Power Rangers is coming up, and there's lots of hot rumors about the original cast all returning. Obviously, apart from the ones that can't.
So I figured I looked online. So the lineup is going to be Kimberly, the Pink Ranger. We're going to be getting Rocky as the Red Ranger, Billy as the Blue Ranger. They didn't say whether the Black Ranger is going to be Adam or Zach. So I'm guessing it's going to be Zach because
I think it's Zach because I saw a video of Zach and David Yost, who plays Billy, the other day. I saw a video of them. I didn't get to watch it, but I saw them and I was like, oh, I'm guessing they're both back.
Yes, it looks like. No, it's not. It wasn't Kimberly, was it? It was the girl that replaced Kimberly.
Catherine.
Catherine. She's taking over Kimberly's role by the looks of it. And then we've got the Yellow Ranger is being played by Trini's daughter in this one. And they're going to be using her going forward in Cosmic Fury, I believe. It's sort of like a big reunion, and then she's going forward.
I don't
Why
get
didn't they
how
just bring
Trini
back
Aisha?
Aisha?
But yeah, that's what I mean. Is we had a I get that obviously Trini was lost and all the rest of it, but yeah, I just don't get how she would have had a daughter at the age that she was when she exited the show. I just don't
the idea is that she probably had the daughter after
later on, yeah. Because in the show they exited because they were going to be world peace ambassadors or something really weird.
Yeah.
So in the story, she lived on obviously longer than the actress sadly did. But I don't know. I think it's a cool way of introducing another character like Trini. You know what I mean?
I don't get why they would do that if they're honoring the kind of 30th anniversary and they're bringing back characters from the kind of original lineups. they have a Yellow Ranger that they could have included as a throwback.
Maybe she didn't want to come back, actually, to be fair. Maybe they asked her and she was like, no, I'm done with it.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so they were like,
that.
well, we can't not have a Yellow Ranger, so we'll have to make it Trini's daughter.
Well, I think
There
as
is
well,
that.
the idea
There
is
is
that
that.
I think Trini's daughter has already featured in comics and things. I think she's already kind of established in the Power Rangers lore.
Yeah, see,
So
I don't read
read
the comics. I read a few,
And-
like the Shattered Grid and stuff, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
I believe she's already established somewhere in the comics, from what I've understood. I've not personally read them, but from what I've read, and I think she's going. Obviously, it's a platform for a new young actress to step off from and to be a part of the main cast going into the new Cosmic Fury on Netflix. So I mean, it's a way of getting a new character in that paying homage to the past, but going forward to the new stuff. I think that's the idea.
And no Green Ranger or White Ranger.
Not announced, but come on. You telling me that David Frank's going to miss a? Maybe he's going to be. Do you know what I would love more than anything? What if they kept it quiet? Because what if this is his Lord Drakon appearance? What if he turns up in a portal and it's Drakon?
I
think that is actually quite possible.
I think that's very.
They have released a Lord Drakon helmet comes out this Christmas.
Yeah,
there you
that
go.
would just tick all the boxes for me. I would watch it. I would get really excited.
The thing is he's doing, but he's doing his own, isn't he? The whole white
claw dragon thing.
Yeah, it's like white dragon. Yeah, it's
White
the white
Legend
of the White Dragon, I think it is, and it's kind of like an unofficial spin-off kind of thing, and that looks really, really cool. Yeah, maybe he's doing that. Lord Drakon would be very cool. There's one other thing that we need to discuss very quickly before we come off. Black Adam. Black Adam has hit theaters and it's going slightly sideways with DC here.
I thought it was next week.
It's been previews. So they're like the reviews and the preview shows and stuff. And there's been a handful of leaks as to the post-credit scene. I'm taking it neither of you guys have seen it.
No.
Is it just Ezra Miller committing loads of crimes and somehow getting away with it?
Nope. I'm not going to discuss it because you guys haven't seen it, but there are leaks of the post. I can if you want me to.
I'm not bothered. I want to know.
No, I know. I don't want to know.
Ryan doesn't want to know. Ash wants to know. All I'll say is it doesn't take very much to find it. It's out there. It's on the YouTube. On the YouTube.
You just message Ash afterwards.
It's on YouTube. Look it up. People have leaked it. There's clips of it, and it's. Sorrel is literally looking right now.
Don't say it.
It's a very, very awesomely curious move by DC that opens a lot of doors and raises a lot of questions that I'm kind of like, you know what, you've got my attention. I've been excited for Black Adam anyway, but when I found this out, I was like, okay, you have my attention. Following on Peacemaker and what they did with Peacemaker and all that kind of stuff, and then finding out this, I'm kind of like, I'm listening.
It's Batgirl, and she gets sad about being cancelled.
It's you're not far off, but I'm leaving you with that one. So anyone else got anything to say this week before we do leave and finish the show up?
Falafel.
No? Cool. For those of you that are watching still, we do appreciate you. Thanks very much for jumping in on the comments and joining in. Do tune in next week. I didn't even announce at the beginning, but this was episode 70. Episode 70 of the Geek Week in Review. So we do appreciate you. Check out the website. Follow these guys. Follow myself. Like all our social medias there on the website, as well as in the description of the videos. If you're on podcast, we do appreciate you. Thank you very much for listening. So yeah, until then, I suppose it leaves me with one thing to say, as I always do. And Ryan, you're going to be able to cut me off because we're live and it's like slightly delayed. But thanks very much for watching. Till next week. Keep it geek.